education and become a physician, to open her hospitals and schools for girls, and to raise her children according to her own values. The article I wrote resulted in more than 12,000 letters to the editor from women demanding action for the women and girls of Afghanistan. Some of the letter writers started Canadian Women for Women in Afghanistan, and similar associations sprang up around the world. They all asked Sima to come and speak. After 9/11 and the subsequent defeat of the Taliban, U.S. President George W. Bush invited her to the State of the Union address in 2002 and introduced her as the face of the future of Afghanistan. At every podium in Europe, in Asia, in North America, she told her heart-wrenching story and was received with standing ovations, cheers, and promises. She was a journalist's dream, sharing her stories with authenticity, passion, and even humor. Little did I know that when my journalistic quest was finished, the odyssey would continue for more than 2 decades. As our friendship grew, I became her witness when the Taliban threatened to kill her, when the government that formed after the Taliban was defeated in 2001 tried to sideline her, when she defied the naysayers and became the first ever Minister of Women's Affairs, and when she started the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, AIHRC. I traveled to the Central Highlands with her to see her far-flung schools in action, and I was with her family when suicide bombers struck at a meeting she was attending at the Serena Hotel in Kabul. When Sima visited Canada, she met my family and even swaddled my first grandchild. And when I visited her country, I sat on the floor, cross-legged, around the Dastarkhan at dinner with her family and learned more about Afghanistan and Afghans than I ever could have imagined. I watched her fight back, bristled at the threats she received, and grinned at her audacity. When it comes to justice and equality, she simply does not take no for an answer. I remember one occasion when the Taliban demanded she close her schools for girls and said if she did not, they would kill her. She replied, "Go ahead and hang me in the public square and tell the people my crime, giving paper and pencils to girls." I urged her to tell her own story when the Taliban, following on disgraceful backroom deals made with the United States, returned to power. While the world saw the 20-year international intervention in Afghanistan as a failure, the truth is that during those 20 years, life expectancy in Afghanistan went from 47 years to 63 years. The boys and girls went back to school, and nation-building began. That isn't a failure, it's a miracle. Sima was one of the leaders behind those remarkable changes, and I told her that the future of her country might depend on the honest telling of the chronicle of women, tradition, human rights, and justice. What's more, she was in a position to know exactly why the government eventually collapsed. I saw her life of resistance and resilience as a cautionary tale to others who allowed deception and misinformation about culture and religion and gender to overrule the history and ultimately the will of the people. This is her story.
1. Eyewitness. I have 3 strikes against me. I'm a woman, I speak for women, and I'm Hazara, the most persecuted ethnic group in Afghanistan. It began as a sparkling May morning on an otherwise ordinary day. The weather was perfect, sunny, and warm with a light breeze blowing springtime into Kabul. The blossoms had drifted off the trees, making way for leaves to burst onto the branches. It was approaching the end of Ramadan, the holy ritual that requires prayers and fasting for 30 days. So the anticipation of Eid, the celebration that marks the end of fasting, was on everyone's mind. Families and friends would gather to pray and give thanks and to savor traditional foods like steaming platters.